Hey everybody, it's Mr. Devine, the teacher librarian, and I get to make another video about your AP US History projects and your digital portfolio. Mr. Namimatsu shared with me some of the questions you had, like how are these things connected? How do I do this? A few of you might have started a digital portfolio with your Google site, like when you were ninth graders, and then maybe your teachers didn't have you add much to it. And so now you're hearing about it as 11th graders towards the end of your 11th grade year, kind of, and you're like, oh, this is different, this is new. What do I have to do? Why are you talking about digital portfolios right now? Briefly, part of the reason why I advocate for you using your digital portfolio as a way to showcase your learning and demonstrate your learning is to make like a personal hub of your learning artifacts. You've been learning, you've demonstrated that with these digital products. Sometimes it's a video, sometimes it's an infographic, sometimes it's a spreadsheet with a cool display thing like the JS timeline thing. And it's in all these different places. And your teacher might kind of know where they are if you're submitting them on that Google form, and I'll show you how to do that. And you might kind of know where they are. The push for digital portfolios is a way to publish and demonstrate your learning in this one place where a lot of people, you can see it, your teacher can see it, and others, to as many people as you'd like. And it's also a way to really push teachers, other students, other people to buy into this idea that instead of having everything be an inauthentic test or multiple choice type learning demonstration, people get used to this idea of, I've created something that represents my learning. I'm going to create a page to publish and share that learning. And I want to be evaluated on my learning based on this thing that I created, and I want to make it easy to access so that other people can see it. I can share it later, and I can share it with my peers, with people inside school, outside of school. So it's a lot. I talk about this. Let me show. One of the things I'm going to show later a little bit is like I have a website where I've been sharing my presentations around digital portfolios for years. This is like a big transformation thing around how school works so that it's just more real and people develop a more personal relationship with how they learn and what they learn. And I appreciate you guys taking this risk of showcasing your learning in this way. And I encourage you to push past the resistance that you might feel within you, like, hey, I did this work, I just want to turn it in and get my grade, and that's it. I want that to be the end of the story. I would ask you to push yourself past that into like, not only am I going to learn and create this artifact of learning, but I'm going to be able to share it with others in a way that it makes my learning kind of transparent and visible and just more clear to others. Nobody, like I've said before, nobody is going to really be interested in the number score that you get in this class or any class. But if you can show people what you've learned, if you can demonstrate it through evidence, that is a much more valuable thing to be able to do. Instead of waiting and saying, my teacher gave me this grade, an 88%. That's how I know I learned in this subject area. If instead you can say, let me show you what I can do. Let me show you what I learned. I will prove my learning. A number doesn't mean anything. But through these period projects, you're demonstrating learning in a much deeper, a much more authentic way than just a score. So stay with me. All right, I'm going to go back to your Google site and how it relates to AP US History and submitting stuff on Mr. Nami's website. So first of all, again, this Google site is your hub. It's where all of your learning is represented, or big artifacts of learning can be found easily. And you can build it out just for AP US History if that's who's using it, your AP US History teacher. You can add other things. The digital portfolio, let me bring up one. So I went to Google Sites. That's what I'm suggesting you use for your digital portfolio. And I have this sample student portfolio going. I'm going to open that. It doesn't have to be for one class, and you certainly don't want to make multiple portfolios for multiple classes. You want to have one website that gets bigger and bigger and bigger throughout your time in high school, and then use this site as you're applying for colleges, as you're applying for scholarships, as you're applying for jobs, use this site. Give links to this site to those different kinds of institutions that might want to see more than just your transcript. I know, like, sometimes Avid, they do their personal essays through something like this digital portfolio. They have tabs that they add for personal essays. For scholarships, when you're keeping track of extracurricular activities or clubs you're involved in, organizations, add that to your digital portfolio. That's valuable stuff about you that your transcript doesn't say. Your transcript doesn't share the volunteer work that you've put in your community, helping out people during this time of COVID, if you've done anything like that. It won't share that. You need to share that. You need to use this to not just promote yourself, but to recognize and value the things that you've been doing around your learning. So build up this page, build up your website, add multiple pages to it. I don't want to bring up her email, but there was a student who graduated last year who just emailed me 2 days ago. And she said, "Hey, Mr. Devine, I want to use my digital portfolio to," what was she using it for? Oh, she said she had a project in college. She's in her freshman year. She wanted to demonstrate some of the things that she did in high school around learning. But she never shared her digital portfolio with a personal account. So she's now kind of stuck. She doesn't have access to this digital portfolio anymore. This thing, I know you're 11th grade and it's tough to see now, this digital portfolio that you create will have value after high school, whether it's to help you get that first internship, that first job, that scholarship. It will be valuable to have this thing that you can link to tell other people what you're about and what you learned and what you spent your time on in high school. So save this digital portfolio. And then share it later. When you're seniors, I'll definitely be sharing, like, here's an easy way how to export your digital portfolio or how to share it with your personal account so you have access to it after high school. Okay, I'm going to get back to this. Here's your website. You've got on the edit side of your page, you're probably familiar with this. I logged in to Google Sites. I clicked on the site and I'm opening it. I've got a few tabs. One of the things Mr. Namimatsu mentioned is that how do students add an AP US History tab, and then how do you add subpages, and how do you put stuff on that page? I'm going to give you just a quick rundown of that, and then if you have more questions, I would love to hear them. You can let Mr. Nami know, and he can pass those on to me, or you can reach out to me. I want to make sure this makes sense to you. So again, the idea is whatever projects you do, they're on this page somewhere, and ideally organized in a way that makes sense so that people visiting your page can kind of see the things you're learning in your classes. So I'm going to pretend that I need to make an AP US History tab. So I'm in the edit side. I'm going to click on pages. These are my tabs currently. To add a page, I'm just going to click down here in the bottom corner where it says new page. And I'm going to call it AP US History, or you can call it APUSH. Done. And I've made an AP US History page. Excellent. And you can see it automatically added it up here as one of my tabs. And here it is right here as a tab. I can move this around if I want it to be like after English, after science, after social science. I can just drag and drop, and then it moves it over here. Now it's right here. So great, AP US History. I want to insert a little bit of text and say, these are my projects for AP US History. Check them out in the drop-down menu. You might have a little bit more than that, but you're adding just this tab, really. Now I want sub-tabs for every period. AP US History, great. I'm going to go back to pages. If you hover over the title of the page and click on these three little dots, there is an add subpage button, which is great. I'm going to add a subpage, and I think you start with period 3. So call it period 3 project. Done. Now it's a blank page. Ideally, you want to be able to give Mr. Namimatsu a link to this page that has your stuff in it. So let's say I just found a presentation that I created at some point. I want to embed this one, maybe. So let me see. Let me find a different one that I actually own. I'm in a sample student account, so it's a little bit different from my own. All right. So here is one. It's kind of a blank presentation, but let's say I want this to be on my website. First thing, if it's a Google Drive item, you always want to make it so that anybody with the link can view your work. Anyone with the link can view it. Otherwise, you post this on your website and other people can't see your stuff. Then I want to come to my edit side of my page, and I want to insert something from Drive. If it's a Google Drive item you're submitting, it makes it kind of easy because Google stuff just syncs well together. So let's say that's the one I wanted. Insert. So it's embedded right there. I can double click and add some text over there to give some context. And here's something I suggest. You know, in the Mr. Namimatsu's form, this is his website. You go to submit projects, and he's got this Google form for you to add your work. And you know how he's got, let me just fill in anything here. He's got this self-reflection thing. You could type it all right here, but if I were you, I might do it on a separate document or like this, like right on the Google site. So you give context to this work you just submitted. And you can remind yourself, what are the requirements? Here we go. I need to talk about key concepts, historical thinking skills. Okay. Key concepts. Historical thinking skills, and so on. And you can give yourself, you can explain your self-evaluation right here. Let's say you've done all of that, you've given some context to this, and I want to share this with Mr. Namimatsu. Okay, I'm going to hit publish. And sometimes it shows you the two versions, like, are you sure you want to do this? Yes, hit publish. If other stuff is coming up for you when you hit publish, that means you might not have published in a while, so you might need to do things like pick a name for your website and make sure that anybody who views it can see it. But there we go, it's published. But I don't want to give this link to Mr. Namimatsu. Again, this is the edit side. I need to give him the publish side of my page. So I'm going to go down here on this little drop-down menu, view published site. So imagine this is my project. It's right here, ready for Mr. Namimatsu to see, or anybody to see. And here's me giving myself an evaluation on this project. That's pretty useful. So I'm going to copy this web address. And actually, I'm going to copy this. I'm going to come back to Mr. Namimatsu's form. And I'll fill out my name, sample, student. The portfolio link, delete this part, so that goes to my home page. So I have a, let's say that was a textbook, like if I used a Google Slides presentation to make a textbook. And where's my period 3 project? Right there on my Google site. See how it ends in period 3 project? And if I come over here, it's this URL. Great. And now I need to give my evaluation. And if I wrote my evaluation here, I'm sorry, if I wrote my evaluation here, then I'd just be able to copy this and then paste it on this Google form right here. If you remember from my other video, I just copied and pasted this a bunch of times in order to hit the word count. But again, you don't want to do that. You want to actually meet the requirements. Because Mr. Namimatsu reads these. So I filled that out. I called it a textbook, and I'm done with period 3. Submitted. Great. I can close this now. Come back to Mr. Namimatsu's website, refresh my page, and there I am. Sample student, my period 3 project. It takes me right there. Anybody can see my work, and I even have my evaluation right there next to it. Cool. I'm going to go through that again because I went through quickly. And if you've got it and you're like, fine, I get it, I understand how to do things on a digital portfolio, I know how to embed things, wonderful. Good, you don't need to do anything else. If you want to see me embed something else, then let's continue. So I'm going to come back to my website. Let's say period 3 looks good. I've got my presentation here. I've got my evaluation, and I'm ready to do period 4. So I have my subpage here, period 3 project. I'm going to pages, hovering over AP US history, clicking on those 3 dots again, add subpage again. And this time I will call it period 4 project. Now you can kind of see underneath my AP US history tab, I've got my period 3 project, my period 4 project, and this is empty. Let's say I made a video. This is a video, but it's not, it's a Google Drive item, but it is a video file. It's also very easy to add stuff from YouTube, but I'll show you this one and then I'll show you the YouTube option. So let's say I made a video lecture. Great. I want to add it to my period 4 project. I'm going to actually show you how to use a little bit of HTML in your website. So I have this Google Drive item open in a new window. I can hit play if I wanted to. And it's a video that I made previously with this account showing people how to use the Sora app in order to access like free stuff to read online. I guess it's been a while since we've even accessed this, so it's not playing yet. But anyway, I have this open in a new window. I'm going to click on these 3 dots. I want to embed this item. And I'm copying this code. You guys get to be a little bit of coders here. So copy that HTML code. I'm going to go to my website, go to Insert, and click on Embed. And I can embed the code right here. Click Next. Insert. And it's not letting me. And it's probably because I'm not an owner of that file. Only the owner and explicitly shared collaborators have access to this. Okay. Let me find a different video. I'll go to YouTube. It works similarly. So I want to make I'll find some ECVHS library video that works. Here's one. What a wonderful video this is. I'm going to stop that. So I want to, let's say this was my video. I want to share, and YouTube gives you this nice little embed code. I'll do the same thing. I'll copy that embed code, and I can come back here, insert, embed code, paste. And by the way, this whole embed code and pasting thing, this is similar to pretty much a variety of things that you might add on your digital portfolio. Like if you made a JS embed, that's giving you some code that you can use to embed right here on your website. Instead of sending Mr. Namimatsu off to your JS timeline thing, he can see it right here on your web page. And again, you would be able to add some text to explain my evaluation, my self-evaluation. And give yourself your scores over here. So that is embedding from YouTube. Another way to embed from YouTube is just with the link. I mean, because YouTube is also owned by Google, they also make it easy to just embed from the URL. IGOHSD. So I'm going to copy this URL. Notice I didn't copy from the share item. I just copied the URL. I'm going to come back to my website. I'm going to put this one underneath. And I'll go to embed again, and I'll just put in the URL, the web address. And insert. Great. It's right there. So here's that evaluation. I can come over here, add some more text. And I can continue with my explanation here. This is also good. Like last year, I remember some students making videos that were like 45 minutes long, which is cool. It's great, but maybe you don't want to be editing a 45-minute video, but you can break something like that up on a page like this. Like This first section is a 5-minute video on blank, but I didn't satisfy all the requirements by the rubric. I also want to talk about other things, and that's why I'm going to make this other video and make another video if you wanted to break it up that way. It just might make it be a more manageable project. So that's me embedding videos. I'm going to hit publish and publish again. And you have this little thing pops up that says view the published site. There we go. Now this is the one that anybody can see. I'm going to go ahead and copy that and put it on my portfolio, on my my form submission for Mr. Namimatsu. So I'm back on his website. Remember, it says you've already responded. Yes, I'm editing my response. I'm going to keep all this stuff the same, keep my period 3 stuff the same, come down to period 4. Now I'm a YouTube lecturer. Here's the URL, and here's my self-scoring reflection. Copy that. And I'm pasting this for a while. Again, don't do it the way I'm doing it. Actually write this stuff. Okay, and now I'm submitting. I can close this tab, come back, refresh Mr. Namimatsu's page. There we go. I have a link to my homepage, a link to period 3, a link to period 4. So the great thing about this is everything is on my website. When I give Mr. Namimatsu a link, it goes right to the page that has all my stuff on it. That's another valuable thing about having digital portfolio, your digital portfolio be your hub, because you can embed the item you created, also give some context to it, and it's all in one spot. You do not want to send Mr. Namimatsu or anybody on to multiple links in order to find this one project or to find things for this one project. It gives you a little bit more freedom too. Like if you made an infographic and it's something that you needed to add multiple images of or multiple pictures of in order to really fully display on this page, you can do that. And that way you have multiple images showing, but only one link that anybody has to click on and to view. Very useful for that reason. And you can drag and drop things around on the page to make it look the way you want it to look. It just allows you to present your learning in a clear, straightforward way. There's no mystery about what you're learning. It's displayed right there. Okay. I'm going to try one more time. So I'm going to kind of go from my home page and imagine I just logged in again, and now I need to make a page for my period 5 project. Okay, period 5. I'm going to go to pages, and I've got my AP US History tab again here. And you all know, you click on these 3 dots and you add a subpage. That's one way to do it. Let's say I forgot that. Let's say I just clicked on a new page and I called it period 5 project. And that's great. I made it, but it's like its own item on its tab over here. I want it to be under AP US History. It's very easy to do that. All you need to do is click over here and you can drag and drop it wherever you want it to be. You want it to be under AP US History, so you hover right over the top until you see that box all the way around it. That's like putting it in a folder in Google Drive. You drop it, and there it is. It's right there. If you accidentally messed up and put it like underneath period 3, you don't want to do that, because that's like, here's my AP US History project, here's period 3, and now period 5 is within that. That doesn't make sense. You can fix that just by coming over here, dragging it again, putting it up to AP US History. Now it's in the correct order. You can also change the order of these things. Like if you accidentally mixed up and put period 5 first and you want it to be at the end, you drag and drop. Oh, it's outside again. Drag, drop. Now it's in the right spot. Period 3 project, period 4, period 5. So period 3 was a Google Slides presentation. This could be like a textbook if you wanted a textbook to display. And you could actually even make this larger if you wanted to. Like, I want my textbook to take up the whole screen. All right, I'll move text up here. I'll make this wider and taller. There we go. Now I'm taking up the whole screen. And that's easy for somebody to kind of scroll through and see my textbook. Period 4 That was, I was a YouTube lecturer for that period, and I added my cool projects that I worked so hard on creating. Great. For period 5, let's see, what are the options again? I'm going to look at Mr. Namimatsu's form. We can do textbook, a cartoon or artist, a YouTube lecture, a Google My Map. Interesting. Infographic, timeline. Let's try a Google My Map. I'll get started. I want to create a map. And let's say I made one for, Tucson, Arizona for some reason. All right, I made it, I marked it up. Now I want to share it. Oh, I got to give it a title. Tucson is hot. And you would probably have more than that. Anyway, I want to share it. Again, this is just like Google Drive. You want to make it so that anybody with the link can view it. Otherwise, some people might need to see this and they cannot see what you did. You want to make your learning obvious. Okay, share. I'll copy the link. And I haven't really played with Google My Maps, so I'm curious if it embeds nicely. So let's go back. I have my period 5 project page open. I'm going to go to insert an embed, and I'll paste the URL. Let's see if it does it. Oh, neat. It does something. Tucson is hot. Hopefully if I had added like actual dots and images and pictures, maybe it would just be zoomed in, but there's my map, and I want to do my text box. I can drag and drop it and give my self-evaluation. It's because I want to write it out here, remember, instead of putting it all here at once, putting it all on the Google form at once. I want to prepare it a little bit ahead of time. Also, this helps with like spelling mistakes and stuff. The Google form, I don't know that it is correcting or checking your spelling before you submit. So there's my period 5 project. I explain it. I hit publish. Publish. I can view the published site here, or again, I can go up here and go to view published site. Copy that. Come back to Mr. Namimatsu's form. I submitted a My Map for period 5. There's my link, and I'll just copy this for the self-evaluation. Paste. I'm going to scroll down, hit submit, and refresh. There we go. I've submitted multiple projects. Looks like something came up for project 6. I'm going to have to fix that on the form. That's okay. That's something I can fix later. Anyway, that is mostly what I wanted to talk to you about. I want to encourage you to share your learning this way, and I want to encourage you to try to regularly use your digital portfolio as a way for you to tell your learning story. Your teachers can tell you some of your learning story. They can give you grades and scores, but that doesn't mean a lot outside of a school setting. In life, you want to be able to demonstrate your learning with something other than telling somebody a score that you got or a grade that you got. You're going to have to show something else. You're going to have to show evidence. You're going to have to prove your learning. This project, putting these projects on your digital portfolio is a way for you to get used to showcasing your learning that way and develop hopefully a different relationship with your learning. Rather than waiting for an adult to tell you what you know and what you don't know, you can take ownership of that story and say, this is what I know. Let me explain to you. Let me show you what I know. I'm excited to see what you all create. I have been creating this page as kind of like my digital portfolio where I share a little bit about myself. I have gathered resources around digital portfolios for the past few years. I get to talk with conference groups about digital portfolios. I know that at times it can feel weird, it can feel different. I hope it is something that you as students and other teachers like Mr. Namimatsu start to use this more and more as a way to get people to share their learning in a more real, personal way than just test scores or just grades. Um, Thanks for watching. Again, if you have specific questions, like I have this thing I made, how do I embed that? How do I get that to appear on my website the way I want it to be, the way I want it to look? Definitely reach out to me for that. And when you're a senior and I'm sharing stuff with you about how to save your digital portfolio in a way that you can access after high school, definitely read that email, please, so that you're not coming back to me a year after you graduate because some college professor wants you to reflect on something you did in high school and you don't have access to that page anymore. I won't be able to help you then. So hopefully you do what it takes to prepare for that moment and other moments where you're going to need your digital portfolio or where it would be very useful for you to have your digital portfolio. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day. Bye.